Hello and welcome to another segment of the Short Sale Minute. I'm Nick Livera.
And I'm Ryan Smith. Did you see me on TMZ? I was on it.
You were not on TMZ.
I was not.
You were on Sesame Street maybe, but not on TMZ.
That's about right.
So, today we are here to talk a little bit about current news, market trends, and the foreclosure rate.
What I saw today on Yahoo News, and this was an article from May 19th, 2010, and I'm just going to read it right now. It says the number of homeowners who missed at least one mortgage payment surged to a record in the first quarter of the year, a sign that the foreclosure crisis is far from over. Look, we've been doing these videos now for a little while. We've said that from the get-go that I don't think the worst is behind us. I think there's still plenty of foreclosures down the road. I believe the gentleman that wrote this article, he quoted someone as saying that we expect over 1 million foreclosures this year for 2010. And it's going to accelerate actually towards the end of 2010 is what the article stated.
Well, the foreclosure rate is tied to job losses. I think no matter what you read, those are the facts. Job losses and the foreclosure rate are in lockstep, more or less, with one another. And so as long as unemployment is not a high priority, and other things are, then we're going to continue to see foreclosures go up.
You know what Nick just said is absolutely right. The foreclosures are stemming from the jobless claims, from people being unemployed. In that same article on Yahoo News, it states that the economic woes, such as unemployment or reduced incomes, are the main catalyst for the foreclosures this year. Initial lax lending standards were the culprit, but today the majority of the people defaulting are your A-paper borrowers. These were conventional deals, fixed-rate loans, very low risk, but these are the people defaulting. In fact, they're the fastest growing segment of the default rates. I believe it's 37% of the new foreclosures are A-paper borrowers. So that's kind of alarming to me.
Just had a conversation with an appraiser, been in the business 25 years. This was out in the Palm Springs, California area, who told me that the overwhelming majority of the market that he is involved with right now are defaults and appraisals for short sales and or foreclosures on multi-million-dollar properties. And so clearly these folks that are in those properties didn't get in there with a subprime loan. They got in there because they had great credit, good job, great income, all of the factors that you would expect a good borrower to have.
Definitely, and one of the things I want to bring up is California. California accounted for the biggest slice overall of homes facing foreclosure. I mean, nationwide it was 23%, but when you break it down into the numbers that I'm going to say here, it's very alarming. 1 in every 62 properties received a foreclosure filing in the first quarter.
In California?
In California, 1 in every 62.
Wow.
So pick a neighborhood, go drive down the street, count. Wow. 1 in every 62 homes received some kind of foreclosure filing, and that's alarming to me.
That is alarming. And one of the programs that were put in place to try and stem this a little bit was the HAMP program. We've been in the HAMP program now for about a year, maybe a little bit less. And current figures, at least at the end of April, showed approximately 300,000 permanent loan modifications that have been completed. The original goal, as stated by the Obama administration, was 4 million. At this pace, it's going to take 12 to 15 years to get to that 4 million goal. It's going to take forever. This is absolutely ridiculous what's going on in the market right now.
And let's not fool ourselves, or you fool yourself with your situation with a loan modification. We've been touting for many months now that we don't consider loan modification the way to go. Just because what we've seen, the amount of stress that the lenders put you through in order to get the loan modification, and at the end of the day, the good majority of people are denied, they're declined. I did read something, and I'm not going to quote it, but I did read something, it was probably about a month ago, that stated that the re-default rate on loan modifications was actually in the 60% range.
Right.
And that was pretty huge, and I think that stems from
job losses, or reduction in income, people taking seasonal work or part-time jobs. And
yeah, exactly. Right. Nick, I think you wanted to talk about a quote that we had read.
Oh, this was interesting. This has to do with loan modifications, and it was a very lengthy article, very well written, and I think it was on ProRepublica, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's where the article came from. But at one of the people that was interviewed, he was an attorney actually, interviewed in the article, what he said was, look, part of the problem here is that early on in the HAMP program, verifying income was not one of the requirements. In other words, the lenders just wanted, or the HAMP program didn't require it, so lenders were accepting loan modification applications that were stated. back to the old stated income scenario. But and then so the borrowers were then put into temporary loan mods, and after 2 or 3 months, when it turned out that they could not verify income to substantiate the debt ratios that were required, they were booted out of the program. So they made 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 payments during that time, and then were kicked out. Well, the comment this person made was, look, putting people into a loan modification without verifying sustainable income is nothing more than a collection tactic. Those were his words, and I thought that was very well said, and that's exactly what that amounts to.
Exactly, and I think it was Wells Fargo that was one of the main culprits for that, accepting loan modifications without actually, doing QC on the file for income. They would just say, hey, look, do you want a loan modification? Mail out the paperwork, mail it back into us, then
we'll get you in the program, we'll verify everything later. Well, right, so you continue making payments, and now you're out another $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, whatever it happens to be, and then they kick you off the bus.
Exactly. Want to switch gears here a little bit and talk about short sales. There's many people that have the dilemma, well, do I try for the loan modification or do I just go for the short sale? And what I tell people a lot of the times is, well, it's very case specific. I do an intensive interview, Nick and I do, with that homeowner to see what their situation is and what their goals are. But a lot of the people just want it to stop. They just want to move on from this period. And that brings up a point. If you have a short sale on your credit report, standard lending practices now are you can buy again within 3 years. Okay, in 3 years, I don't see a lot changing with the market. And I prepared some cards. Nick's going to make fun, but I prepared them.
This is the Sesame Street
yes.
referral.
Another visual for you. The median estimate home value in California is $298,656. Oh, no, $292,800. $292,800. I'm reading backwards. I'm kind of reading through the paper, so it's kind of difficult. But let's take year 1, 2010, and let's figure a 2% appreciation rate, which I think 2% is a little bit giving, so to say. At a 2% appreciation rate, you're going to be at $298,656. Let's go to year 2, 2011. Let's do a 3% appreciation rate, which again I think is giving. And that's going to take it up to $307,600 and $15. And then I got really crazy on year 3 and I did a 5% appreciation, which I really don't think is going to happen. But at 5% for year 3, 2012, we're looking at a balance of $322,995. And that's best case scenario. So the point that I'm trying to make here is if you short sell today, you're not going to be out of the market in 3 years. You're going to be able to buy again in 3 years, considering that you do have a job and you do qualify for the mortgage. So it's not the end of the world if you have to go through a short sale now. What I tell people is, get it done now and move on. The quicker you can say yes, the quicker the recovery period is going to be, and you're going to be back in the market within 3 years. And as you can see from those cards, you're not going to be priced out of the market. You want to add anything to that?
No, I think that sums it up really well.
One last card. info@theshortsellminute.com equals a happy face. So send us an email, contact us. We'll be more than happy to set up an appointment with you or email us your questions. I did want to end on a quote, and the quote today is, "It is easy to dodge our responsibilities, but we cannot dodge the consequences of dodging our responsibilities." I'm Ryan Smith signing off.
Nick Lavera.
See you next time.